really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my God.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about a permanent loss.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Welcome to the DGen Roundtable, your go-to show for the wild world of cryptocurrency and economic markets. Join us as we dive into the latest news, unpack the market moves, and share unfiltered takes on where this crazy ride is headed. Buckle up, DGens. Today, we have a special guest, and I'm very excited to introduce him. It is a protocol built for and on the Pulse Chain network and for the Pulse Chain community. And this is something that I think is going to be very interesting to a lot of people out there for multiple reasons. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet. But Jexa, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on the show. How you doing?
Yeah, awesome, man. Thanks for having me on. Glad to be here.
Yeah, excellent. So, well, first, I'd like just to hear a little about you. You know, it's just you and I tonight. So, if you just introduce yourself, tell the crowd a little bit about you, how you've found the crypto space, how long you've been in this space, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, awesome. I won't give you the extensive version. If people are watching this and have seen me before, they'll be probably pretty bored by that now. So I'll give you a very condensed outlook. So when I was much younger and had a lot less grey hair, I was in the security world in the IT space. So doing a lot of systems and network engineering. So sort of really honed my skills around protecting people's data and networks. And that was sort of my bread and butter for quite some time. And got a little bit burnt out from the tech world and went across into started my own business and had a property development company running as well. Done that for probably 16 years. So very much in the thick of how to raise finance, how to structure businesses and trusts and companies and set up shares and all that sort of stuff. So right into the thick of all of that and how to do all the, I guess, the back end stuff that goes along with that investing world. And as part of that, I was a bit of an educator as well. And at one of our events, I bumped into a couple of guys talking about this thing called Bitcoin and ETH. And the ETH thing intrigued me. So I got one of those lads to pop over and show me how a wallet works and how this crypto thing is put together. And I was drawn in hook, line, and sinker just from what he showed me in that weekend. The tech thing just clicked in my brain. I went, holy hell, there's something here. And the financial aspect intrigued me as well. And sort of the world sort of collided. And yeah, straight down the rabbit hole from then on in. And that was probably 2016, 2017, sort of that period over the Christmas period there. And I was pretty fortunate. I had plenty of time on my hands around that stage of my life. So I just went deep down the rabbit hole and was looking at this stuff, 12, 14 hours a day, just absorbing everything that you could on the world of crypto. It was very intriguing. So, that's sort of got me to where I am today, I guess.
So, ETH, some people are obviously focused on Bitcoin. Some people focus on ETH. What was it about ETH that struck you and really, really brought you in?
Yeah, I think it was, and ETH still didn't have a lot of the like Uniswap wasn't a thing. So a lot of that didn't actually exist. The speed at which you could transact, that was something that sort of took me, because I was playing with Bitcoin and it was okay, but still it was taking a while to move things around. ETH just seemed like there was going to be so much more that you could do on it, the smart contract side of things. At that point in time, it was the world computer was the the big narrative. And for me, that's sort of gelled, and I went, yeah, that's really cool. I can see where this can go. Probably had and was still totally clueless at that point in time, so probably didn't have a real idea of what was getting built in the background and what it would become. But yeah, I guess the seeds of something were there like that just sort of flicked a switch in my head and went, yeah, cool. I think there's something here. Obviously, the number go up was pretty enticing as well. Like, I think that's what gets a lot of people into the space.
Yeah, especially if you got into ETH in 2015, 2016, numbers sure went up. So that's certainly a good time. For those of you who don't know, ETH launched in 2015. I think it was summer. I don't exactly remember when. I was not in crypto when ETH launched, but summer 2015, if my memory serves me correctly. And yeah, so excited. So Ethereum, and now today we're going to be talking about Pulse Chain and some protocols you're building on Pulse Chain. So started kind of with ETH, obviously went down the rabbit hole, been in crypto a long time. How did you get involved in Pulse Chain? How did you get involved in the community? And what made you want to start building on this platform?
Yeah, so I listened to a lot of people's origin stories, and they all say, oh yeah, I was listening to Richard Hart for ages and it was really intriguing. And I totally missed all these intro videos and stuff like that. Or I don't even know how I come across it, but I ended up in I think it was at the time it was called the Bitcoin Hex Telegram group or something. I can't remember what it was called originally, but it was when it was still an idea. So Hex hadn't launched. There was just chatter, and I was, I'm not big on social media as it is, so I was just sort of lurking in the background and just following along. And I'd check in every month or two and see how it was progressing. And then it finally launched, and I thought, what the hell? Just chuck a few bucks at it, and sort of got really involved in the community early on, more in the background scenes. But most people that were around early in Hex would probably have seen me at some point in time in the early Telegram groups. Was never a loud voice in the community, and I'm happy to not be a loud voice in the community. But yeah, so I got in very early on Hex and just followed that journey, and yeah, obviously that ended up in Pulse Chain world, and to me that was a big opportunity to have a bit more of an impact.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, so I was in Hex before Pulse Chain, as I think a lot of people were. I sacrificed Pulse Chain for Pulse X. I didn't sacrifice Pulse Chain. I wasn't sure about it at the time if I wanted to or not. Was still kind of on the fence, and I kind of was a little bit late to the Pulse Chain side. But Pulse X, I was definitely ready for that, and so sacrifice for Pulse X. I was on Pulse Chain within 2 minutes of launch. My first transaction on Pulse Chain was my gas fee was 0.001, something like that. Pulse, it was under one pulse, which is just unheard of, right? And so
jumped quickly.
Jumped quickly. But early on, we were helping our community with swing trades, and before even prices were attached to coins, we were showing people what ratios to swing trade at. And so we've been really focused on the Pulse Chain and Hex communities for a long time. Not that we're we have a lot of people on our team, and some people are more focused. Some people are Hex maxis. Some people are Pulse Chain Hex. Some people, are all crypto. But we've all been in the Pulse Chain space for sure since the beginning. And we've hosted a lot of protocols. Some of the best videos that we've done to date were actually hosting people like yourself talking about protocols. And I think this one's going to be very popular because people are always looking for yield, right? They're looking for ways to yield with the least amount of effort possible. And you might have something that allows people to yield with very little work involved on their own side of things. So let's, I'm just going to quickly do a quick chat shout out. So we do this every beginning of every show. We just like to shout out to the people that are in the chat supporting us, focus mostly on YouTube, but we do get a lot of viewers on X as well. So first comment of the day, Centurion 54X. Rip to Charlie Kirk. Love you guys. Love you too, Centurion. And yes, very sad to see what happened today. Never good to see the ASS word happening in the public space. Really feel bad for his wife and his kids and anybody within his family. So prayers go out to that. And
totally agree, man. I'm pretty stoic most of the times, but yeah, that one got me this morning. Not gonna lie.
Got me too. I was finishing up my day at work, and it's funny. I don't really watch his content regularly. I don't really follow him on socials, but of course, you know who he is if you pay any attention to anything political, right? And it's just really sad to see the state of the political violence in our country. And I would just urge people to look beyond politics, because politicians don't generally have your best interests at heart, no matter which side of the aisle are. And which other side of the aisle that you associate yourself more to. It's really the person-to-person interactions that are going to be better off in your life than worrying about who people voted for, what their personal beliefs are. So let's agree to disagree on things, which is perfectly acceptable. Be honest, be open about what you believe in. But there's no reason to come down to violence.
The only way to progress is to be able to have these conversations. And if you can't have those conversations without fear of violence, then where's the world going? So it was, we're in a bit of a mess at the moment. Hopefully we can sort a few things out. And I think part of what we do here has the potential to help that. So that's part of why I'm in the space as well. I think we can start to craft our future in the world how we want to see it. So that's why I do a lot of things I do.
Agreed. Personal responsibility goes a long way into kind of changing your mindset a little bit, right? You're not dependent on what someone else is doing from a political standpoint. That's going to fully affect your life, your wealth, or your mental health, right? It's like, it's mind, body, spirit. It's like everything needs to go together. If you're really rich, it doesn't mean you're going to be happy. So you have to get your mind straight if you also want to be able to enjoy the money that you make in the space.
Man, the way you're talking, I love this channel. Like, I've been watching some of your videos in the past, and the actual content you guys put out is top notch. And I said this to someone the other day. I said, your channel should be way, way bigger. And I think it will be. I think as we pick up and more people come in, this channel is going to absolutely pump. But if you're not a regular watcher of these guys, you should be subbed to this channel and liking it now, and come back and watch some of their content, guys, and watch some of the past stuff. There's some gems in there.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we have our 100th flagship episode coming up. We actually launched this show in the bear market, which is very rare for people to do because sentiment's so low in the bear market. But we actually launched our group in a way to hold each other accountable to make the right moves in a bear market so that we could be ready for the bull market. And we're like, hey, if we're doing this together, let's just put this stuff out, and if people find it valuable, they find it valuable. And so that's kind of how we started, just a mindset group and trying to keep each other accountable and better ourselves individually. But I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. Yeah. Got a few more chat shout outs to get through. So we got the VIC Foundation, Bang Bang. Frank White, Bang Bang Pulse Gang. Lots of bang bangs in here. Thank you, Frank White. I like Vouch and VPLS. Yes, we'll be getting to that shortly. Frank White. Funk Master Hex. Cheers to you, sir. I have no drink, even though it's Wednesdays. I have no drink on me tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. So on nights that we don't have guests, we do Whiskey Wednesdays, which generally, enjoy a little imbibing. We have people can get on, ask us anything. It's kind of just a fun, low-key time. Funk Master Hex also says, hit that damn like button. Jim Cork, Vouch is the way to go. And for those of you who don't know, we are going to be talking about Vouch protocol today. We're going to be really, really excited.
Got a few vouchers in the room. That's good.
Yep. Frank White, also love Vouch. And sad day here in the USA, praying for better. Yeah, praying for better on both sides. But yeah, violence is never the way. So there are a couple other comments. One is a question that we will get into a little bit later once we get into the protocol. So now that we have gotten through all of the comments, thank you everybody who's watching. Please do like and subscribe. Spending your valuable time with us is super humbling and we appreciate it. So Chexa, so Vouch protocol. Tell us a little bit about just what it is, and then we'll get a little bit deeper into the specifics.
Yeah, so it's expanded a little bit in the last week, but in a nutshell, it's a liquid staking protocol on Pulse Chain. It allows you to take your Pulse, put it into a pool, and then validators can come along and pick that Pulse up from the pool, put it to work, securing the Pulse Chain network in the form of validators, and then everyone shares in the yield that is produced by those validators. So it comes back into the system and is filtered out to the stakers and the validators. So that's probably it in a nutshell. And yeah, I'm happy to sort of expand on where we've gone to more recently, because it's been a pretty big upgrade that's happened to Vouch over the past 2 weeks.
So for people that, I'm actually excited to hear about that because I'm not familiar with those developments. But for people that don't want to, spend a few $1,000s buying a validator, most people that set up a validator actually have to pay someone to walk them through the steps of how to set it up. So there's a cost to the actual setup process, and then running, your validator 24/7. There's a cost there. And look, I think it's great to run a validator. I think it's great to run your own nodes. I think there's some value to that. Bring value to this, but let's be in reality, not everybody has the wherewithal or the desire to be that deep, but they do like to receive rewards. So I can understand that a protocol that allows you to stake your pulse and receive, your percentage of the validator rewards without having to go through those expensive and challenging steps to get everything set up, could be very, very interesting to people. So I think this is a protocol that's going to be very easy for the general person to get behind.
Yeah. So I've already explained my background, where I came from an IT and systems networking background. And even for me, the learning curve to go from not knowing what a validator was to firing up validators on the test network, that was steep, man. That was steep. I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of hours put into, okay, well, how does this thing work and what have you got to do and how do you secure it all? And there's a lot to it. Now, we're lucky. There's some great guys in the community, and I'll give a quick shout out to Dipslayer. He's created some awesome scripts so that if you do want to run a validator yourself, you can basically follow this script through and it'll set up all the validator for you. So there's some awesome tools out there. You still need a bit of base knowledge on Linux and things like that, which you could probably pick up pretty easily. But that tool's a really good resource. And a lot of the guys that are adding validators to Vouch, so anyone can come and add their validator to Vouch, they're using those scripts as well. So whatever skills you learn running your own validator, you can tap that into the Vouch pool of validators as well. So yeah, if you've got the technical inclination and the time to do that, I encourage people to fire up their own validators for sure. Every bit of tech we own in the world has a cost of ownership. And if you run a validator, you have a cost of ownership. There's the hardware you've got to buy, or the hosting services. There's the cost of ownership of maintaining the software and keeping an eye on it and make sure it's running healthily. And the other thing, the big one, I guess, for a lot of people is you need to bring along 32 million pulse to stake per validator. And if you, at the moment, the economics are not there. If you just wanted to fire up one validator and you went out and bought all the hardware or paid for hosting or whatever, I don't think you'd get a return on investment for many years. So then you've got to run multiple validators, which means you've got to do multiples of 32 million pulse per validator. And I reckon realistically you need to be running at least 20 validators currently. That'll probably change over time, but I reckon about 20 validators would get you where you could probably return a decent ROI on it. Now, where Vouch comes in is you can forget about if you want to come in on the staker side, you can forget about all that cost of ownership of running the validator, and you can come in with a minimum of 10,000 pulse. So you're not bound by that 32 million per validator metric, which means if you want, you can even dip your toe in the water with Vouch and say, okay, I'm just going to try it with the minimum and see how the protocol works. And at the moment, what's 10,000 pulse? A couple of bucks or something? Like it's nothing. You can have a pretty low cost test run of how the system works.
Yeah, it's interesting. You actually brought up a good point, because I have a few friends that run many validators. There's people in our communities that run validators and been running them since the beginning, but it's a return on investment. You can't, like you said, just run a validator or two or three. Maybe in the future, if Pulse Chain 100X's, you might be able to run one or two validators and make money, but not at the current prices. And I will say that it's still, maybe if you're looking far into the future, worthwhile to set up some validators. if you can, because if you get them set up and you're ready and things start to take off, then you're going to be in a very, very good place to start to reap those rewards. I mean, it takes 32 ETH to validate on the Ethereum side. So the barrier to entry to validate on the Pulse chain side is far less, but it's still to actually, like you said, actually make some return on your investment and not wait 10 years to do so. You're going to need to run quite a few validators to do so. But again, there is a benefit of having some skin in the game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I encourage everyone to do it. Like I'm all for more validators and more decentralization. I think that is awesome. That's the way to go. You like you say, you just got to run enough validators to make it worthwhile, because you've either got to cover your hosting costs or your initial capital outlay to buy the device. And what I find is you end up making sure you've got a better internet connection. Well, there's a bit more. You end up with a power supply, a backup power supply, because you don't want to go on offline. So you just got to consider all of those things. But if you're doing it now, I think we'll reap great rewards in the future. But
for those of you who don't have the acumen or don't have the desire to, this gives you an opportunity to stake liquid and earn rewards. So if there's obviously plenty of liquid staking protocols on ETH because of the high barrier of staking. Are there any of those protocols that Vouch was sort of built in similarly to, or was it forked, or what? How did Vouch come to be the code itself?
Yeah. So I had a look at a few of the different protocols running on ETH, and the one that sort of piqued my interest was one by the guys over at Stafi. So that's STAFI, and so Vouch is not necessarily a fork; it's more of a partnership with those guys. So we work very closely with the team, the original team. So we've tweaked the code that was running on ETH to be suitable for Pulse, launched all the contracts over on Pulse chain, but I'm still in regular contact with the team, and we'll work together, and we're just sort of putting the plans in place to do a bit of outreach with their other communities, which are on ETH and other chains as well. They run a lot of liquid staking on other platforms. So yeah, we want to engage more with their community and hopefully bring some of their community across to Pulse chain and see what we've got to offer over here. So yeah, there's a really good opportunity to work with outside communities there. And it's, like I said, it's a very friendly relationship we have with them.
I think that's fantastic. And one of the things that there's been some struggle to do is connecting and interacting with outside communities in a positive way to get them excited about Pulse chain and bring them over to the side of the game, because it really, when it comes down to it, just like we're talking about political differences, there are chain differences within people. Yeah. But if you look at the base of what crypto is, we all should just be trying to grow the space together, because everybody's going to benefit in that case. Now, of course, you don't want to get with the scammers or the people that are crazy on one side or the other. We have that. But the general gist of it is we should be trying to bring people in from other protocols, from other chains to Pulse chain. And I love what you just said, that you're not only working with an Ethereum protocol, they're helping you get something set up on Pulse chain, but because you're creating that relationship, there is opportunity for outreach and opportunity to potentially, teach and bring people into the Pulse chain community, because onboarding is one of the biggest and most important things that we need to do here in the community.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that I think that's one of the big innovations we've seen this cycle is the cross-chain communication, so bridges and layer zero and things like that, where we're starting to now, these were all on their own separate little islands, and now we're starting to build all the proper bridges so these islands can connect. And I mean, that's what if we want to see change in the world, we shouldn't be battling each other. Yeah, everyone's got financial interests and trying to stake their claim, but as a whole, we should be forging forward and connecting all these islands and building out that financial network we want to see.
Yeah, I love the way that you said that. So getting into the protocol itself a little bit deeper. So how does the actual staking work? I know there are a couple coins associated. Anytime that you have a liquid staking protocol, you're going to have to lock up your Pulse. You're going to have to, get the token, or I guess maybe you have to change for the token, but nonetheless, yeah,
Yep.
dive into it and how
All right,
the
so what I'll
actual rewards work.
The easiest way, like for me, I'm a visual learner. I like diagrams and things like that. So I tend to educate in that way as well. So if you want, I'll bring up a slide deck and I'll just show you, I'll run through something and that might gel it for everyone. Just give me 1 sec. I'll share a screen for you. Let's get this out of the way. Where are we? Entire screen. Let's go with this. Okay, you should be able to see a screen that you can share there now.
Yes. There we go.
Cool.
We got it.
Awesome. All right. So this is how Vouch has been running in the last 9 months. So we launched the liquid staking protocol. In essence, what happened, you're sitting out here with your Pulse in your wallet. You send some of your Pulse to the liquid staking contracts. And in return for that Pulse, you get given a token called vPulse. So that's the liquid staking token. And that represents your share of your staked Pulse in the system. Now, the important thing is this token, you don't get more of it as you earn yield. What you actually do is the value of it goes up relative to Pulse. So what that means is if you put 1 Pulse in and got 1 vPulse out, if you came back 12 months later and you redeemed your vPulse, you wouldn't get 1 Pulse out, you would get 1.5 Pulse out or 2 Pulse out, whatever the yield's been over that period. So it just captures the value of the yield. So when everyone pops their Pulse into here, validators will pick it up. They'll add some of their own Pulse and they'll stake it on the Pulse chain network. And they'll do real work actually securing Pulse chain. And for that real work, they get real yield. So they're getting a share of the Pulse that's produced every day and distributed to the validator set. So that Pulse flows back into the liquid staking protocol. Validators get their share of it. Users get their share of it. So that's pretty much how we've been running for the last 9 months. Now, what happened more recently is we launched, for that, the yield, this is actually really important. The yield for that normally is about 10 to 12%. And I'll show you some cool stuff we've done with Vouch, which has pretty much doubled that over the past week or so.
Wow.
So then we launched the Vouch token, and the Vouch token has a couple of purposes. One of them is to capture the value of the system. So over time, this will be the token that, ownership's the wrong word, but any value that's captured within the ecosystem within the protocols will be represented in Vouch token as well as the vPulse token. But Vouch token also plays the additional role of the governance token. Now, not currently, that'll be phase 3. When the DAO is released, anyone that's holding the Vouch token not only captures the value, but also has a say in the future of the network. So what settings are we setting? What other decisions need to be made? People can vote on it. So that's the reason why Vouch token actually exists. Now, along with Vouch token, we also launched something called the distribution layer. And the distribution layer can just be thought of as something that routes value around the network. So we'll delve into how that actually works now. I said the validators are doing real work and we're bringing in external revenue outside of the protocol. So this is really important. When you line up a lot of other projects that have launched, a lot of the way they generate yield is just through buys and sells, and it's internal yield, whereas we're actually grabbing value from doing real work and bringing that into the system. So we've got this external revenue comes in, hits the liquid staking protocol, and in particular, what we're getting is the validators get two types of yield. They get general rewards, which is consistent, or they get priority fees from producing blocks. And that's what we're routing back into this distribution layer, is any priority fees that the validator set gets, it gets dropped back into here to do some useful work with. On the token side, we call this a revenue token. So it does have fees. So buy and sell fees and transfer fees. But those fees are additive to the system. So that revenue from the fees, once again, gets dropped into the distribution layer. And it's what we do with the funds that are in the distribution layer that sort of makes Vouch a little bit unique. Funds that hit the distribution layer can be carved up in a number of ways. One big thing we're doing at the moment, so 40% of the fees that hit the distribution layer are coming out here and creating what we call community validators. So these are validators that will be owned by the ecosystem, and in particular, these guys are capturing the value for. So we fire up more validators, they in turn produce more yield, yield drops back into here, and we get this virtuous cycle where we can keep adding more validators and using the yield from the validators to add more validators. So it's a nice flywheel that we get, and it's from doing real world work. The other big thing we're doing at the moment, and this is what's reflective in the price chart on Vouch and why people are pretty excited, is the buy and burn. We can burn either Vouch or VPLS. At the moment, we're burning 24% of the revenue coming in here is going up to buy Vouch off the market and torch it. So it's been pretty deflationary from the get-go. There will be never any more Vouch minted. So the stuff that's getting burnt will never ever get replaced. I think we're up to about 1.6% of the supply has been torched in the last 2 weeks.
In the Vouch token, that is just trade on the open market.
Correct. Yep.
If people want to get involved in Vouch, PulseX or some sort of aggregator like Pitius or something to that extent.
Best place to go is pulseswap.io. I'll show you where you can hit our website. And we've got all the links there so you can find it very easily.
Yeah, I'll put the website out later as well.
Yeah, cool. And the final piece of the puzzle really is the distribution side of things. So we can send Vouch, vPulse, or Pulse out to holders. So that's these guys. Stakers, which will be a future thing. Validators, once again, a future thing. Or relays, which they're a very small set of the ecosystem that do a particular role. But at the moment, holders are getting about 6% of the revenue coming into here is getting carved up and sent out to holders in the form of Vouch. So they're actually getting, if you hold Vouch, you're getting more Vouch at the moment, brought up off the market and sent out to you. So it's not minted like an incentive sort of token or a cake token like you would be used to. This is from a set supply, has to be brought off the market to be distributed. So no more Vouch will ever be minted. So that's pretty much the ecosystem in a nutshell. I won't rabbit on too much. I'll let you fire away with some questions if you've got any.
Well,
I'm happy to.
Yep. Yeah. We've got a question this was actually from earlier, so this person's already familiar with your protocol, but How I Made has a question about Vouch. Who controls 100 billion tokens now, and how was it released, and when vPulse distributions happen for Vouch holders?
There's been a lot of questions when are people going to get vPulse distributions. We'll get to the vPulse distributions in a minute, but in terms of the 100 billion tokens, if you go to our website, you can look in the docs, and there's a Vouch launch section, and that shows the breakdown of how the tokens were distributed. But in a nutshell, 35% of the tokens went out and were put into a liquidity pool or a couple of liquidity pools, and that's what people are actively trading now. There was some team tokens. There was some airdrops given to people that had supported the ecosystem in the beginning. So if you had staked your Pulse and were holding vPulse, you got an airdrop. If you're a validator, you got an airdrop. And if you're an NFT holder, you got an airdrop. So we've basically tried to distribute the Vouch in such a way that anyone that supported the protocol in the early days has got a stake in it. And so no matter where we're redirecting these fees, everyone's rewarded. And the fact of the matter, it doesn't matter whether you're a vPulse holder or a Vouch holder, you're all unified in the protocol. So if one does well, the other one does well. It's working really well. And I'd love to run through some metrics of what's happened over the last 2 weeks if we can.
Yeah. So just for the people out there, they don't have to use Rabby Wallet. That doesn't really support Pulse chain much anymore, right?
Yeah. So I made this slide a little while ago.
And I understand that the whole community was in love with Rabby for a while, unfortunately. Then don't support us so much anymore, but maybe one day that'll come back.
Yep. All I want in crypto is one wallet that does everything I need.
Don't we all? Maybe I need 20 of those wallets, but just like one wallet that does everything. Yeah, so this is cool. So we have two sides of it. We have the V pulse, which you get for locking up your pulse, and then you get rewards when you go to unstake that in rewards pulse. So you get 1-to-1 pulse when you stake, and then when you unstake, you're getting an increase in pulse back based on what percentage you earned.
Yes, slight bit of nuance to that. So when the protocol first launched, if you put one pulse in, you got one V pulse out. But from that first day onwards, that will never be the same. So every day, well, pretty much 4 times a day, the value of V pulse goes up in relation to pulse. So every time we recalculate how much pulse has been earned by the validators, the pulse to V pulse ratio changes, and effectively what that ratio is doing is reflecting the value of the yield that's been earned.
And do you have an easy metric of what percentage goes to the validator protocol versus the person staking the pulse?
Yeah, sure. What I'll do is I'll let me just kill this share, and I'll bring up another one for you.
Perfect. I liked that chart that you had up. That was a good visual.
Yeah, that's the way I like to learn. Okay, let's go with this. All right, so this is the main landing portal for Vouch. So from here, you can pretty much jump out to any corner of the ecosystem. But let's have a quick look at the dashboard, because I think that's
the dashboard's very cool.
Yeah, we've got some interesting metrics here. We'll just tweak this a little bit. Let's actually bring it out a little bit more. Okay, so dashboard, we've got two parts of the ecosystem. We've got the Vouch token side, and we've got the VPLS token side, so the liquid staking side, essentially. And what you can see is over the past 14 days, this is the revenue that the token side has generated for the system. Obviously, we've been in a pretty crazy period for the launch. So that revenue's 1.6 billion pulse that's been generated just from the token. On the validator side, about 200 million pulse, and that will just keep ticking away over time. And that will like I said, 4 times a day, we're getting more of that yield deposited there. So the important thing is, well, what do we do with these two streams of revenue? And that was the two diagrams, the two arrows I had showing in the top of that diagram, is there are two forms of revenue, and they fall into the distribution layer. And from the distribution layer, that's where we carve everything up. So like I said, 40% is going to create more validators, and you'll see our validator numbers increase over time here. I'll talk about that in a minute. The liquid staking protocol fee pool, so that just goes back to VPulse stakers. So we've got to make sure those guys are still incentivized.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a safety fund, we've got the treasury, and we've got the voter relays. These are a very small part of the ecosystem. We'll probably even wind this down even more. That's just really to cover gas costs for keeping the system all automated. The thing that Vouch holders are pretty excited about, and VPulse holders will be as well soon, is the rewards pools. So with the rewards pool, we've got 3 pools we can deal with. So we've got a Vouch pool, VPLS pool, and a Pulse pool. So the active one at the moment is the Vouch rewards pool. So that's 30% of the revenue is dropping down into this Vouch rewards pool down here, and then we do some clever stuff with it. So let's have a look. So that 30% is reflected down here, and at the moment, like I said, holders are getting 6% of the total, and the buy and burn is set at 24%. So we can see how much Vouch is being distributed to the Vouch holders and how much we've actually burnt. And you can see we've burnt an insane amount off the protocol already. So that's what's reflected up here in this 1.66% of the supply is being torched.
That's a lot, and that's one of the things that people love about PulseX, right? Is the buying and burn aspect, not going up, only going down, only deflating over time, and that's I think something that people love to see.
Yeah, and much like other things, we're built off the back of giants, so we're lucky. We've had the time to see what was being real successful on Pulse Chain, and we've been able to emulate some of those aspects. So we look at a good protocol and we go, okay, they're doing some interesting things with some fees on their token. Great. We want to have a governance token, but there's no point just launching a governance token if it doesn't do much. So it would be great. Yeah, it's good to have the voting mechanism, but if you're going to launch something, why don't you build something so that it generates more value for the system? Like if you can make everything you do additive to the system, to the whole ecosystem, then I think that's the way you should be building things. So
well, it's going to have people desire to join the ecosystem more, not only then join it, but also stick around longer because of the benefits that they see it's happening. So I think that's smart.
Yeah. So I said everyone's incentivized, no matter whether you're a vouch holder or a VPLS holder. I'm getting a bit of echo there. Is that me or?
I don't hear it on my end.
Okay. Hopefully you're not getting it. So what we've seen is we've been in price discovery with the Vouch token over the past 2 weeks, generated a lot of revenue, and that revenue has flown back into the system and been redistributed via this fee protocol. This fee pool to the VPLS stakers. So this is what I was saying, their yield has gone up from 12%, so 10 to 12% to 24%. So if you're putting Pulse into the ecosystem, your yield's just gone through the roof because we've added Vouch token. Now, the Vouch token guys are sitting there going, oh, great, well, are we giving away our value to the stakers? Well, no, because the stakers bring their Pulse into the system. They generate more validators. The validators generate more yield, which goes and buys the Vouch token off the market. So it's the way the tokenomics work, it's very harmonious for all parts of the ecosystem.
Everybody that's participating is benefiting, and everybody in the ecosystem benefiting is then benefiting everybody as well. So it's a circular symbiotic relationship. Very cool.
Symbiotic, that's the word I was after.
So 24%, I mean, that's huge. That's double that what most people are earning from staking. So that's wonderful to see. And even if people are getting a percentage of that, right, you're not doing anything. All you're doing is locking your tokens up for however long you want, right? At any point they can unstake their tokens and take back what they've earned and move on.
Exactly. There is no lock period on Vouch. So if you deposit your Pulse and you want to withdraw it straight away, you can. Now there's a caveat to that. If the Pulse, that is, if you have deposited your Pulse and it's been put to work by a validator and there's not enough liquid balance to be able to withdraw yours instantly, then you've got to wait for a validator to unwind. So that's what we see on this side of the dashboard, that we've got a liquid pool here of 2 billion Pulse currently. So if you deposited your Pulse and it was less than 2 billion, you could get your Pulse out straight away. If you wanted to withdraw 3 million Pulse, well, then you could take what's here, but then you'd have to wait for the remainder. We'd have to exit some validators, which is what you see here. So you'd see someone waiting, and you'd see a validator exiting to be able to free up the Pulse to pay them back. So very liquid system. We try to keep a healthy balance in the liquid pool so that people can freely move in and out of the protocol when maybe they want to scrape a bit of their yield. They can do that. Yeah.
I mean, I think most people that are not running their own validators are probably going to be coming in with less than 2 billion Pulse. So
you would think so. Yeah.
Cool.
We've got a few large supporters in the protocol.
I'm sure you do. There's a lot of whales around the Pulse chain ecosystem that are vouching for certain protocols and really liking to see the way things are being built. And like I said, we've talked to a lot of creators and a lot of protocols, and we just want people to understand what's out there and who's building on Pulse chain and the type of value that can be brought to the chain. Like you said, it's not just about the rewards that people can earn, but your protocol is also trying to bring other people from other chains into Pulse chain. So it's sort of like a two-pronged approach to benefit the ecosystem.
Yeah. And what the system is not PvP, so it's not player versus player in Vouch. It's not seagulls fighting over a chip. There's plenty of abundance in the system. and we're bringing in that fresh pulse so we can do cool things with it. And you don't have to feel like you've got to scramble to get your piece of the pie. There's enough to go around. The interesting thing that you'll probably see, it's a bit hard to see on this chart because of the way the metrics work, but if you see our community validators, we started off at 102 back here, and over the past few days, you can see 137, 167, 230. So it must be 236. So each day, as that yield is coming back into the system and getting directed to the community validators, we're growing that pool of validators that they're never going to leave the system. They're just going to sit there and be essentially money printers for forever now.
We love the idea of money printers. We've talked about that a lot in our on our channel. So that's very cool. And Vouch token, I was looking at it, looks like it's really just taken off. So congratulations on that for everyone who got in early. So when did Vouch protocol launch, and how long has it been around thus far?
Yeah, so the liquid staking side launched in October 24. So we're not quite 12 months old. We're getting very, very close. The actual Vouch token launched 2 weeks ago. So very much early days for the Vouch token. But that wasn't an overnight thing. That has had 8 months of development time put into it. So pretty much from the time the Vouch protocol launched, the liquid staking side, we started working on phase 2. So a lot of just thoughts going into it, and then in earnest started working on it in January was when we sort of pulled the trigger to, it might have been late December, we pulled the trigger to get the developers to start producing the code. Lot of testing. So I've pushed so many buttons over the last 8 months. It's I've worn out a pad on my finger. We launched 15 times during testing. So the code got deployed 15 times. We'd test everything, find something we weren't happy with, redeploy, then went out for audits, came back, found something we needed to change, redeployed, then another audit. And yeah, from that second audit, then we went, okay, we're pretty happy with where we are now. We feel like we've done everything possible that we can to run the system through its paces, and launched it. And so far so good. It's really happy with the way it's all worked out. It's exceeding our expectations in terms of the way or the symbiotic nature of it's working.
That's great. So yeah, the first when I was looking at your audits on the website, which is very easy to find, you just go to downloads, audits. Looked like the first one was just a year ago in September, and you just had your second audit finished this month.
Two different things. So one of those, the first audit in 24 was for the liquid staking component, and the second audit you see there, that's actually the second audit of this phase. So yeah. So we didn't put the first audit up. There's no point. The code's not deployed. That was part of that audit. So we've just put the main audit up, which reflects the code that was actually launched.
Anything else in regards to the tokenomics here on this page that people should pay attention to? For me, total supply, obviously, how much has been burned was very surprising, especially in a pretty short period of time, almost 2%. And the return on APR, huge for the last 7 days. And it sounds like that's going to continue to do pretty well for people, especially because of how many validators are running. Yeah,
that's right. Like it's, I guess the big thing we haven't seen, we all know what's been going on chain over the last year or so, that there's not a huge amount of activity. Now, every now and then, and if you've been trying to do things on chain, when there's been a surge, when there's a bit of buoyant news, you see gas fees go up, chain, sometimes the bridge gets clogged because everyone's trying to flood in. As much as it's painful to transact on those days, for me, when I see those sorts of days, I'm ear to ear smile, because I know the validators, they're doing their job and they are bringing in a fair amount of pulse in terms of the priority fees and things like that. So we haven't seen the validator set. So we've got 4,000 odd validators now. We haven't seen the validator set go through a big surge period where they're producing all that pulse. So you get all the yield from the priority fees, and pulse price hasn't even moved yet.
Right.
Like, put a 10x behind pulse price, and you can sort of see where this is going.
10x sounds pretty good. I think a lot of people are aiming higher at some point for pulse chain, but I think people would be ecstatic with a 10x in the short term. Middle term, maybe end of this cycle, maybe after the top of most coins bull, this really takes off. But yeah, I mean, a 10x would be huge. I think part of it for me is once we start getting above 2x. Well, let's say that first once we get back above SAC price, and then we're going to have a sell off, right? And then once we get back above, we'll probably test that a few times. Once we start moving up to 2x SAC, really it's uncharted territory, and things can take off really quickly. And with people that aren't in crypto or haven't seen the rapid rise that can happen to an ecosystem or a coin, especially first cycle L1s, it can be absolutely face melting gains, as a lot of people like to say.
Yep. It's mind-boggling how fast a chart can move once you start getting into multiples. Like, it just moves exponentially, and humans don't understand exponential very well, but it can go crazy. So yeah, it starts off it's 100%, but then the next 100% move is 2x, and it just compounds like that. So no, I'm not putting any expectations out there, but do you think our recent run up was a little bit of a test of the SAC rate, and now when we do that next push up, we can forge through?
Let's hope. I don't want to. I'm very optimistic for the ecosystem long term, but based on what I've seen over the last year, a lot of people selling on short pumps. It might take a couple tests of SAC to break through, but once we break through SAC, honestly, man, it's people aren't ready for it.
No. Yeah. At that point, who's selling? Like, you'd have to be absolutely crazy.
Once you get into again above SAC and then 2x SAC, if you're selling at that point, I mean, things are just ready to explode. So I mean, take profits when you have to take profits, and not financial advice or anything we say on here, but just a couple people chopping it up on the internet. So are we good here with this? Anything else you want to share in regards to the protocol from a screen share standpoint?
No, I think that's pretty much it, mate. Unless you've got any specific questions, or if anyone in chat thinks I haven't covered something, by all means, fire out a little note.
So it sounds like when you created this, it was just liquid staking, and then okay, hey, there's something else that we could use here to run the protocol and to better the protocol. So Vouch came. What else do you have? Are there other things that you guys are thinking about for developing in the future? I know that once you start, it's hard to stop. So
this is part of the reason why I'm so bullish on Pulse Chain. I get to interact with other teams all the time, and we see a lot of things going on Twitter, and someone described it the other day, but there's a lot of back channel stuff that happens, and it's not like the cabal. It's just teams that are communicating and, okay, we want to try and work with you guys, want to integrate this. We're about to launch. Can you make sure that our token's listed on your site and everyone's going to be able to buy it easily, and it all works and we test it all. So there's that sort of communication that goes on between the teams all the time. I've got DMs everywhere from people that I know are working on things for Vouch, future things that I'm really excited about, which are not stuff we're doing, but other teams are bringing out, which will have integration. The other liquid staking protocols, we're friendly with them. It's not a combative thing. So there's other things that are all going on in the background, and that's what really makes me sort of, like I said, really bullish for Pulse Chain. We've built so much value into this chain over the past 2 years that is not reflected in price, and I think it's just the beginning. Like, once you've seen what like the Liberty Swap guys are killing it.
Yeah,
we've got Hyperlane is just released, and I don't know enough about that to talk intelligently on it at this point. But there's just day after day, there's something else that comes out, and it's all additive to the value of the system.
So another one or two last questions before we kind of close it out here. I don't want to take too much of your time. I really appreciate this. It's been great. What sets Vouch apart, and why would people want to use this over other liquid staking protocols? Not that they're bad, but what would be a benefit for people? What sets you apart?
And look, I don't want to hose any other ecosystem, and I don't, to be honest, I don't know all the details of what the other two guys are doing as well. So I don't want to misspeak on anything they're doing. I can talk about Vouch, know it pretty well. I guess the unique thing for us is that symbiotic relationship that we've got between the Vouch and the VPLS holders and the validators. That's pretty unique. I don't think that's been done anywhere else on chain yet. Ultimately, we want the value capture and the voting of the system to be in the hands of the community. That's where we want this to be. And I don't know if other protocols are doing that, but that's our vision. And I don't focus too much on what other people are doing. I focus on what it is we want to do. And if we're just true to ourselves and building out something that's going to bring value, and I'm a uniting person by nature. So if I can bring a community together and we all benefit, that's a good day's work for me.
Well, I love that. And like I said, I love that people are building, and there's a variety now. It's tough. I won't say it's tough. It's great when someone builds the first thing, but how many different liquid staking protocols on ETH? And some of them, they're slightly different and they work in different ways. And they're all providing some value to ETH by allowing people to lock up their ETH and allowing people to run validators. So that's bringing value to the ecosystem. And so I think that anytime that we get people to lock tokens up rather than sell them or trade them for random coin, like there's value in that. And so I think that sometimes we can be competitors and still also be moving in the same direction from a community, from a chain standpoint.
I assume you're familiar with Alex from Hedron and Icosa fame. He put out a really interesting post the other day about how value is distributed in the ecosystem, and the value hasn't left. It's just been slowly filtering out across all the different protocols and things that are getting launched. But how do we sort of consolidate some of that back, and things like locking, not for just the sake of locking, but if there's a value for the staking or locking things, then you can stop that value sort of filtering out to the edges and dispersing and bring it in, and it's good for the ecosystem. And I think that's what Vouch does really well, is you're not locking tokens up for the sake of locking them up. You're actually securing the network, and we're keeping that the value within the chain without sort of having it filtering out into the edges of it. Go read his post. Like he's a smart guy, man. If anyone hasn't seen his post, go read it. It was it's worth the read.
Appreciate that. I have not seen that one, so I will go check it out. But yeah, he's built a lot. He's very knowledgeable about the ecosystem. He's been here since really even before it even started. So yeah, very, very smart. And okay, so I'm going to do a one last round of chat shout outs. We'll ask, I've already shared the website. I'll share that again. We'll say, if you want to share any socials at that point, we can. So just bear with me here. We already did that one. We have Duke of Booze. Cheers, everybody. This is someone in competition of our very own Julian, who's always has the drink after his comments. So welcome, Duke of Booze. Every Wednesday we don't have guests. We do Whiskey Wednesdays, which people are welcome to join us and have actually come on stream if they want to ask any questions or chat about anything. It's very very casual. You don't have to drink, but it's fun too. We have Amber Simon, who almost never misses an episode. Thank you for always tuning in. Hello, Miss Amber Simon. AJ Rip City Hex made it. Congrats, Jexa, killing it.
Thanks, brother.
A lot of fans in the chat. VIC Foundation, Jexa.
Thanks, guys.
We have Moon-Pilled Rational Optics, another regular on our channel. What's up, gentlemen? What is up to you, Mr. Moon-Pilled Rational Optics? Hope all is well. Ooh, we even got Crispy in here vouching. He can vouch too. 5555. Great to see you, Crispy.
Crispy's the data expert of Pulse Chain. There's not too much he doesn't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah. He's always around. And Jast asks 3 fire emojis. Welcome and thank you for joining us. So, Jexa, I think we've covered the protocol pretty well. In the future, if you're building more and there's more that comes out that you think would be helpful to the community, we'd be happy to have you back on. But let the people know where they can find you, any of your social handles or Vouch's social handles, and I will put the website for Vouch back into chat so people can do their own research. Always good to go read the white papers. You have a lot of documents in there, a lot of videos to understand. I really like that. So.
Yeah, no, I've tried to be pretty diligent on the information side of things. I don't know if anyone ever reads that sort of stuff, but we like to have it there just in case someone's inquisitive. In terms of anything Vouch related, hit up Vouch.run. From that site there, you can launch to any corner of the ecosystem. You'll find the socials there, how to buy it, how to stake Pulse. Everything can go from that one portal. In terms of me on Twitter, at J_Jexa, as you can see on the screen there. That's how you can follow me on X. The Twitter account for Vouch, you'll find that on the Vouch.run page as well. So go give that a bit of a follow. The more impact we can get on X in terms of follows and things like that, that's good for the algorithms and good for Pulse Chain. So we'd appreciate a little bit of support over there.
Yep, that's great. Anything that's good for the ecosystem is good for most of the people listening. And look, I appreciate people building. I appreciate the value that you're bringing to the chain, not just for allowing people to lock up their tokens and not to potentially want to sell them and to earn rewards easily, but also for the work that you're doing in reaching out to other chains, to having that nice dialect in conversations that is so important in our society, not just in crypto, but in general. And today, that's something that I think we're really, thinking about and considering after what happened. So, want to thank you for coming on. I'm sure I'll see you around. We're in a mastermind chat together. And anybody that wants to join our DGen Roundtable Telegram, you can scan this QR code in the upper right-hand corner, right above Jexa. And it's free. Nothing that we have in there costs anything. We have multiple chats. We have our main chat, which is focused mostly on crypto, and then we have some side chats about politics, video games, and other fun things that people and other fun things that people like to chat about. But there we do some live streams, we do some market streams, and just provide free information to people. A lot of times you get the information that we share in X in our Telegram first, because you're there and working for us and helping us as part of the community. So that is all I have. I'm going to do our little outro here, and then I'll just talk to you in the green room for 2 minutes. But Jexa, thanks so much for having us. Thanks for talking about Vouch.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's been awesome.
And everybody else, thank you for spending your time with us tonight. The markets are unpredictable and ever changing. New protocols are happening all the time, and we try to do our best to keep you up to date on all things that affect our cryptocurrency interest and the Pulse Chain community. You could be anywhere else, but you choose to spend your time with us. And as Agent J always says, time is our most valuable asset, and we appreciate you spending some of your time with us. Everybody, Mr. Producer, Jexa, get ready, because we have to remind everybody to degen responsibly. Goodbye. Oh, I need an outro.